Welcome to this training module on Husqvarna's gas-powered grass and weed trimmers. Trimmers are an important tool in any landscaping arsenal. They are used for cutting grass and clearing weeds that lawnmowers can't reach. They are also a very effective tool for edging around walkways, garden beds, and other areas. Like mowers and other landscaping equipment, trimmers are powerful and potentially dangerous if used incorrectly. This module will show you how to use the trimmer effectively and safely, protecting yourself and the machine. If you're new to using a trimmer, be sure to practice in open spaces away from other people. The trimmer can throw small rocks and other debris that could potentially injure people and cause property damage. Also, it's important that you read the owner's manual before using your trimmer and ask your supervisor for advice and instruction if you have questions. Before we discuss trimming techniques, let's take a closer look at some of the key components of the trimmer. Here we see the trimmer head, grease filler cap, bevel gear, cutting attachment guard, shaft, loop handle, throttle trigger, stop switch, throttle trigger lockout, spark plug cap and spark plug, cylinder cover, starter handle, fuel tank, air filter cover, air purge, choke control, handle adjustment. Safety is vitally important when using this or any other trimming tool. One of the most important steps you can take to protect yourself is to wear the proper personal protective equipment when you use the trimmer. When operating a trimmer, be sure to wear hearing protection, eye protection, and safety boots or other approved footwear. Your boots should have non-slip soles and tied laces. You should also wear approved gloves. Be sure to wear clothing that fits properly. Don't wear baggy clothes or anything with loose sleeves or strings. They can get caught up in the trimmer's moving parts and injure you quickly and seriously. You should also wear long pants. Shorts leave your legs more vulnerable to debris that might fly up from the grass during trimming. Husqvarna trimmers are equipped with a two-stroke engine that uses a mixture of unleaded gasoline and two-stroke engine oil. Make sure to use the gas and oil properly with the right ratios. If you add the wrong mix, you can seriously damage the trimmer's engine. We recommend using Husqvarna XP two-stroke pre-mixed fuel for your trimmer. Husqvarna pre-mixed fuel was specifically formulated to provide optimal equipment performance. It's convenient, ready to use, and requires no mixing. If you choose to mix oil and fuel, always mix 50-1 in a container intended for fuel. Start by adding half the amount of the gasoline to be used, then add the entire amount of oil. Shake the fuel mixture thoroughly, and then add the remaining amount of gasoline. Don't mix more than 1 month's supply of fuel at a time. There are a number of general precautions to keep in mind when fueling the trimmer. You should mix and pour fuel outdoors, where there are no sparks or flames. Also, do not add fuel near hot objects, open flames, or cigarettes and cigars. Always shut the engine off before refueling. Make sure the engine is cool before refueling. If you need to add fuel during a job, give the engine sufficient time to cool down before adding fuel. Extremely hot parts can cause fuel to burn, or you could burn your hand during fueling. Make sure the fuel trimmer is in a well-ventilated area. Do not add fuel indoors. Fumes from the gas are flammable and may be toxic if you breathe them in. When refueling, open the fuel cap slowly so that any excess pressure is released gradually. Tighten the fuel cap carefully after refueling. Always move the machine away from the refueling area and source before starting. Use a fuel container with an anti-spill valve. If you have spilled fuel on the container or the trimmer, wipe it off with an approved oil-soaked product. and allow the remaining fuel to evaporate. Make sure you clean the area around the fuel cap. Contamination in the fuel tank can cause the trimmer to run poorly. If you spill gas or oil on your clothes, change them. Spilled fuel is highly flammable and a serious safety risk. Never start the trimmer near spilled fuel. Before starting the trimmer, check the support flange is not cracked. Support flanges can sometimes crack from simple wear and tear, or if they've been tightened too much. If the support flange is cracked, replace it. Also, make sure the trimmer head and trimmer guard are not damaged or cracked. Again, these parts can crack through use or impact. If they are cracked, replace them. Never use a trimmer with a defective guard or without a guard. Make sure all covers are correctly fitted and not damaged before you start the trimmer. As a general rule, you should also make sure the air filter is installed, clean, and in acceptable condition, and that the muffler is working properly before you start the trimmer. At this point, our operator has checked the trimmer over to make sure the support flange, trimmer head, guards, covers, air filter, and muffler are in good condition. Now he's ready to start the trimmer. The first thing he does is take a look to be sure the area is clear of coworkers, bystanders, children, and debris. When he's satisfied that it's safe, he presses the air purge repeatedly until fuel begins to fill the bulb. The bulb doesn't have to be completely filled for the trimmer to start. Next, he moves the choke control into the choke position. With the trimmer on the ground, he holds the body of the machine firm with his left hand, not his foot. Now he grips the starter handle and slowly pulls the cord out with his right hand until he feels some resistance. From there, he pulls the cord quickly and powerfully a few times. Listen for the engine to pop, indicating that it's trying to start. From here, he moves the choke control into the run position and pulls the cord until the engine starts. When the engine starts, he gradually increases the throttle up to trimming speed. Remember, when the engine is started, with the choke in either the choke or start throttle positions, the cutting attachment will start to rotate immediately. Be careful. Also, be sure to wear gloves and be wary of hot engine parts. Spark plugs can also cause a painful shock if you touch them. Never pull the starter cord all the way out, and do not let go of the starter handle when the cord is fully extended. This can damage the trimmer. Stop the trimmer by switching off the ignition. Remember that the stop switch automatically returns to the start position. Husqvarna trimmers are used for trimming grass and clearing weeds quickly and in tight spaces. They are extremely powerful and effective when used properly. Let's watch as our operator demonstrates some basic trimming techniques. Before we start, remember to lower the throttle after each trim or cut. Don't leave the throttle high for long periods if you're not trimming. This can lead to serious engine damage. Also, plan your route in advance so you don't wind up going over the same territory twice and wasting time. Trimming. Our operator is going to start by trimming grass along a wall with the grass trimmer head. Notice how he holds the trimmer head just above the ground at an angle that will deflect debris away from him. Be patient and let the line do the work when you're trimming. Never press the trimmer line into the ground or trimming area. Keep making passes until the cut is finished. Going too fast can cause the line to merely bend the grass instead of trimming it. Trimming requires a steady hand. If you're working around fences, trees, bushes, or decorations, be very careful. The trimmer line can severely gouge those surfaces. If you're working around plants, consider shortening the line to about 5 inches and reduce the engine speed. Clearing. Clearing is less precise than trimming. The technique is about clearing out all unwanted vegetation. To clear, our operator again keeps the trimmer head just above the ground and tilts it. In this case, he will let the trimmer line hit the ground to cut stems as low as possible. Make sure you're approved to use this technique because it will damage the trimmer's line, especially if you're working around stones, brick, concrete, metal fences, and other hard objects or surfaces. When trimming and clearing, keep the throttle about 80% to protect the trimmer line and reduce wear on the trimmer head. Cutting. The trimmer can also be used to cut grass that you can't easily reach with a regular lawnmower. In this case, the operator keeps the trimmer line parallel to the ground. Again, he doesn't press the trimmer head against the ground. This can damage both the property and the trimmer. Sweeping. Sweeping can be used in wider spaces to clear unwanted vegetation. The operator sweeps gently back and forth with the line kept parallel and above the area he's clearing. This is a very effective technique for knocking down tall weeds, but be sure there are no logs or branches in the way that could damage the trimmer line. Edging. The trimmer can be used to create clean edges along walkways, flower beds, and other landscape features. To edge around this particular feature, our operator flips the trimming head to a vertical position, cradling the throttle control with one hand and the loop handle with the other. Now he walks forward slowly, carefully edging along the path. Edging is an advanced technique that will take some practice. Get comfortable with the other techniques and working with the trimmer before you try edging. When in doubt, speak to an experienced operator or your supervisor. Now is a good time to remind you that you should never make adjustments to the trimmer head or line while the engine is running. The line and trimmer head can cause serious injuries when they are active. Shut the engine off. Make sure the cutting attachments have completely stopped, and disconnect the spark plug before making any adjustments. We talk about safety in terms of personal hazards, bystander hazards, and property hazards. You should be aware of all potential hazards when you're using the trimmer, and take precautions to protect yourself, the people around you, and property. Again, never use the trimmer without an approved guard. Personal hazards. Personal hazards are anything that can hurt you personally as you work with the trimmer. Debris that flies up from the ground is a potential personal hazard, for example. That's why you should always use personal protective equipment, including long pants, and don't trim above waist height. It's also a main reason why you should wear eye protection when you work with the trimmer. Tripping is another potential hazard when working with the trimmer. Watch your footing as you work. It's easy to focus on the trimmer head, but pay attention to the ground as well. Also, be very careful on slopes or in slippery conditions. You should walk forward when you trim, whenever possible. Sometimes debris may get caught between the guard and the cutting attachment. Never try to clear the debris with the engine running. Stop the engine, then clear the debris. We've already talked about the potential damage that trimmers can do to your hearing. Remember to wear proper ear protection. Also, remember to make sure the fuel cap is tight. With a trimmer, the fuel tank is close to your body. If the cap is loose, fuel can spill on your clothes, which is potentially a fire hazard. The trimmer is equipped with a vibration damping system that reduces vibration. Check frequently to make sure the damping system has no cracks or other damage. For certain people, overexposure to vibration has the potential to cause circulatory problems and even nerve damage in the hands and arms. If the trimmer seems to be vibrating too much, or if you feel like it's injuring you, have the unit checked for maintenance. The trimmer is also equipped with a throttle lockout that is designed to prevent accidental operation of the throttle control. When you press the lock, it releases the throttle control. When you release the handle, the throttle control and the throttle lockout both move back to their original positions. This arrangement means that the throttle control is automatically locked at the idle setting. For your safety, make sure that the throttle trigger is locked at idle setting when the throttle trigger lockout is released. Finally, if you have medical implants, you should talk with your doctor before using the trimmer. Bystander hazards. Bystander hazards affect the people around you, whether they're coworkers, clients, or people passing by. First and foremost, you don't want to hit anyone with the trimmer head or line, so be on the lookout for people as you trim. It's a good general rule to make sure people, whether bystanders or helpers, are at least 50 feet away if you're working with the trimmer. The line can throw debris like stones, glass, and pieces of metal a long way, which is a potential hazard for you and others around you. Do a sight check before you work to minimize the chances of debris getting thrown. Never allow children to use the trimmer or be near the trimmer when in use. Kids are sometimes interested in the machine and may come too close. Even if the engine is turned off, the parts may be hot. Keep children out of your work area and remove the spark plug cap when the trimmer is not supervised. If you're trimming near roads or laneways, watch for cars. Stop trimming as cars drive by. Finally, be aware of open windows and doorways. Again, debris can fly into those open areas, and the noise of the trimmer might scare people who aren't expecting it. If you're working between buildings or enclosed spaces, keep the throttle to a minimum and use the trimmer as quietly as you can. Property hazards. Property hazards are those that affect property, whether it's the client's property, public property, or your equipment. Again, it's important to watch where you walk with the trimmer. If you're not paying attention, you can knock things over, either with the trimmer or with your body. Be aware of your surroundings and work carefully. Also, take steps to protect the trimmer from impact with objects or the ground. The trimmer line is very powerful and can damage wood, plastic, vinyl, plants, and other materials. Be very careful around fences, decks, steps, playsets, benches, and other objects in your work area. Be careful around plants, shrubs, and tree trunks as well. The trimmer line can gouge wood and other materials deeply and quickly. The cost of repairing or replacing those objects can be very expensive for your company. Careless work can also cost your company a contract. In some cases, it's better to leave the grass untrimmed than to risk damaging property. If you have reservations about trimming in a certain area, speak to your supervisor or use a different tool for the job. The same debris hazards can affect property that affect people. Trimming and vertical edging can throw debris at windows, doors, plants, and vehicles. Always watch for debris and use the trimmer carefully. Be aware of potential property hazards and always err on the side of caution. Husqvarna trimmers are a powerful and important landscaping tool. Follow the tips and techniques in this module to use them safely and effectively. And if you have any questions, be sure to consult the owner's manual or talk to your supervisor.